Have a nice day. Today is Saturday, 24th of February 2024. This day is celebrated as Guru Ravidas Jayanti, is observed on 24th of February every year. Based on the Panchang calendar, the occasion is observed on Purnima Tithi, which began at 3:33 p.m. on February 23 and will end at the 5:59 p.m. on February 24. Starting the newspaper analysis with the newspaper The Hindu states that Delhi approaches Moscow for early discharge of Indian army helpers. The Hindu had reported that about 100 Indians have been hired by the Russian army over the past year, and at least three are at the Ukraine border. A Ministry of External Affairs urged Indians to stay away from the conflict. A Ukrainian serviceman walks past a damaged pickup vehicle near the front line village of Robotyne aimed Russia's attack on Ukraine in Zaporizhia region, Ukraine, on February 21, 2024. Russia and Ukraine have been at war since February 24, 2022. India has approached the Russian authorities for early discharge of Indians working as support staff with the Russian army. The Ministry of External Affairs Ministry said on Friday, urging Indian nationals to stay away from the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. The comments by Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal came about after a February 20 report by The Hindu that at least three Indians who were hired as security helpers by Russia were forced to fight alongside the country's forces along its borders with the Ukraine. The Hindu subsequently reported that there are around 100 Indians who are said to have been hired by the Russian army over the past year. The Hindu newspaper also states that will fast on to death it talks with the government fail, says Ladakh climate activist Sonam Wangchuk. Civil society leaders have been demanding statehood and protection under the sixth schedule. Prominent climate activist Sonam Wangchuk said on Friday that he would have passed unto death in sub-zero temperature if the talks between civil society leaders of Ladakh and the Ministry of Home Affairs officials on Saturday did not succeed. He said that the government, under the influence of industrial lobby, does not want to ensure constitutional safeguards for Ladakh. These lobbies want to exploit Ladakh like what they have done in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, where the locals are now paying a price, Mr. Wangchuk told The Hindu. The Hindu newspaper also states that Hezbollah says two paramedics fighter dead in Israeli strike on Lebanon. The Islamic Health Committee said the attack caused the destruction of the health center as well as the number of ambulances. People gathered as an ambulance arrives at the scene where an Israeli drone shot two guided missiles at a building in Kfar Roman near the South Lebanon's town of Nabatia on February 22nd. Two paramedics affiliated with the Hezbollah and one of the group's fighters have been killed in an Israeli strike on the South Lebanon border village. The group and security sources said on Friday the Israeli army said that late Thursday it had struck a Hezbollah military compound in the South Lebanon's Belida, aimed near daily cross-border fire between the arc foils since the Israeli-Hamas war broke out on October 7. The Hindu newspaper also states that Israel seeks open-ended control in the post-war Gaza. Israel seeks open-ended control over the security and civilian affairs in the Gaza Strip, according to a long-awaited post-war plan by the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu presented the two-page document on a post-war plan to his security cabinet for approval. A long-awaited post-war plan by Israel's prime minister shows that his government seeks open-ended control over the security and civilian affairs in the Gaza Strip. That was swiftly rejected on February 23 by Palestinian leaders and run counter to Washington's vision for the war-ravaged enclave. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu presented the two-page document to his security cabinet late Thursday for approval. Going towards the Hindustan Times newspaper, it is that Supreme Court seeks Google India's assistance to location sharing as bail condition. A bench of Justice Abhay S. Oka and Ujjwal Bhayon issued a notice to Google India With the Union government failing to explain how the Google Web PIN works, the Supreme Court on Friday directed Google India to explain the technical aspects of dropping a PIN and whether a condition requiring an accuser to continue providing investigators with the information about the whereabouts are likely to infringe the individual's right to privacy. Hindustan Times also states that among biggest challenges for India, China is to arrive at equilibrium. S. Jaishankar, Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, sought the question to the position adopted by the West against Russia, and in the context of the Russia-China relations. New Delhi, one of the biggest challenges for both India and China will be to arrive at an equilibrium and then maintain it. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said on Friday against the backdrop of the dragging standoff between the two sides of the line of actual control. The Times also states that Ukraine hopes India will play a key role in planned global peace summit. New Delhi, Ukraine hopes India will play a crucial role in a planned peace summit of the world leaders to be hosted by the Switzerland in March to find a resolution to the conflict triggered by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Deputy Foreign Minister Iryna Borovets said on Friday. Going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view, India's forex reserve was hit 2-month low. Changes in foreign currency assets are caused by the Reserve Bank of India's intervention, as well as the appreciation or depreciation of foreign assets held in the reserves. India's foreign exchange reserves dropped for a second straight week and stood at a 2-month low of $616.10 billion as of February 16 data from the central bank showed on Friday. In the week that the foreign exchange data pertains, the rupee largely remained unchanged against the dollar. From the business point of view, Reserve Bank of India permits banks to issue prepaid instruments for making payments across the various public transport system. With the introduction of these instruments, commuters will have more options to pay for tickets besides cash mode. The Reserve Bank of India on Friday permitted banks and non-banking institutions to issue prepaid instruments (PPIs) for making payments across the various public transport systems. The instrument will provide convenience, speed, affordability, and safety of the digital modes of the payment to commuters for transit services, Reserve Bank of India said in a notification. Nvidia hits a $2 trillion valuation as artificial intelligence frenzy grips Wall Street. Its rapid ascent in the past year had led analysts to draw parallels to the picks and shovels providers during the gold rush of 1800s, as Nvidia's chips are used by almost all generative artificial intelligence players, from the ChatGPT maker Open Artificial Intelligence to the Google. Nvidia's hit $2 trillion in market value on Friday, riding on an insatiable demand for its chips that made a Silicon Valley firm the pioneer of the generative artificial intelligence boom. The milestone followed another bumper revenue forecast from the chip designer that drove up its market value by $277 billion on Thursday, Wall Street's largest one-day again on record. Going towards the world news, including the Indian Express in Ukraine inside a war zone 2 years later. United States destroys Houthi drones missiles in Yemen, and Red Sea military says. Israel says it plans to build 3,300 new settlement homes in the West Bank in response to Palestinian attack. Indian firm among 27 faces European Union sanctions over dual use exports to Russia. Ukraine's most famous sculptor turns war debris into the art, expressing the inexpressible. United States imposes sweeping sanctions against Russia, targets over 500 people and entities. Going towards the science and technology, AT&T outage impacts thousands in the United States carriers. Carrier says incorrect application led to chaos. United States telecom carrier AT&T suffered a massive outage that lasted for over 10 hours. Users were unable to make calls or send texts. The outage reportedly impacted over 70,000 customers. Neutron star found hiding in the heart of a recently exploded supernova. The James Webb Space Telescope was used to find a neutron star hiding in a supernova remnant for the first time. SN 1987 exploded 160,000 light years away from the Earth in the Large Magellanic Cloud NASA experiment. Elon Musk may take on Gmail, says alternative Xmail is coming. Elon Musk in an exchange said that Xmail is coming. The product is being seen as an extension of Musk's broader vision for his X platform. The Tesla boss indicated about the new product in response to query posted by an engineer from X platform. Now going towards the World Organization, which is famous World Trade Organization, WTO, is an intergovernmental organization headquartered in the Geneva, Switzerland, that regulates and facilitates international trade. Governments use the organization to establish, revise, and enforce the rules that govern international trade in cooperation with the United Nations system. The World Trade Organization is the world's largest international economic organization with 164 member states representing over 98% of the global trade and global GDP. World Trade Organization, whose formation is from January 1st, 1995, 29 years ago, is an international organization whose purpose is to reduce of tariffs and other barriers to trade. Headquarters is at Center William Rappard, Geneva, Switzerland. Membership: 164 members, 160 United Nations member states, the European Union, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Official language is English, French, and Spanish. Director General is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Director General, 7th Director General of the World Trade Organization, incumbent since 1st March 2021. Studies show that the World Trade Organization has increased the trade and reduced trade barriers. It has also influenced the trade agreement generally. A 2017 analysis found that the vast majority of preferential trade agreements up to that point explicitly reference the World Trade Organization, with a substantial portion of the text copied from World Trade Organization arguments. Goal 10 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are also referenced World Trade Organization agreements as instrument of reducing inequality. However, critics contend that the benefits of World Trade Organization facilitated free trade are not shared equally. The main 5 aims of the World Trade Organization are: number 1 is the World Trade Organization shall facilitate the implementation, administration, and operation and further the objectives of the agreement and the multilateral trade agreements, and shall also provide the framework for the implementation, administration, and operation of the multilateral trade agreement. The World Trade Organization shall provide the forum for the negotiations among its members concerning their multilateral trade relationships in matters dealt with under the agreement in the annexes or to this agreement. Number 3 is the World Trade Organization shall administer the understanding of rules and procedures governing the settlement of disputes. Number 4 is the World Trade Organization shall administer a trade policy review mechanism. Number 5 is to achieve a greater coherence in global economic policy making. The World Trade Organization shall cooperate as appropriate with the International Monetary Fund and with the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development (IBRD) and its affiliated agencies. At last, there is a famous quotation said by APJ Abdul Kalam, whose full name is Ol Pakir Jainuddin Abdul Kalam. Birth anniversary 15 October 1931 up to 27th of July 2015, was an Indian aerospace scientist and statesman who served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. He was born and raised in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu, and studied physics and aerospace engineering. He spent the next 4 decades as a scientist and a science administrator, mainly at the DRDO and ISRO. and was intimately involved in the India's civilian space program and military missile development efforts. He thus came to be known as the Missile Man of India for his work on on the development of ballistic missile and launch vehicle technology. He also played a pivotal organizational and a technical and a political role in the India's Pokhran second nuclear tests in 1998, the first since the original nuclear test by India in 1974. Mr. Kalam says a famous quotation. He says that winners are not those who never fail, but those who never quit. Okay, thank you.